Folks, it is official. Arcade1Up is dead. They're dead. It's over. It's been a fun run, lots of memories, lots of things that we took away from the rise of the home arcade marketplace. But as it stands right now, today, July 3rd, when I'm filming this, Arcade1Up is dead. It's a company that I've talked a lot about on this channel. I was one of the first early adopters of an Arcade1Up machine with the Street Fighter II Special Champion Edition arcade cabinet. A lot of people always ask me if I still have my Arcade1Up collection, and the answer is yes. I didn't sell any of those. I love having that little arcade room and having like an arcade-like feeling, even though there's no risers on any of them. I don't know why people like to make fun of me for that. I don't want to build the riser. I don't want to buy risers. I'm going to sit down in a chair or on a stool and enjoy my arcade games. But back in the initial launch of these things, they were $300, and yeah, they weren't arcade perfect in terms of like dimensions, and there was a few kind of wonky things, but nobody cared. It was just cool to have something like this in your house. Of course, they rose to prominence. They had all these licenses, and now we're sitting here on July 3rd, 2024. And this is a dead company. And I want to talk about why this is a dead company, in my opinion. Maybe theorize if it can be saved or anything like that. Talk about some of the things that I have heard from other content creators in the sphere about the future of Arcade1Up. Because maybe they're not saying it, but I'll say it because I don't have any allegiance to this company. Now, of course, Arcade1Up was, you know, in their heyday, like it was awesome. Like, I don't care what anyone says. It was awesome. You would have all of these arcade cabinets coming out. You would have a spring lineup of cabinets and then a fall lineup of cabinets. And all of these cabinets, they weren't just cheap revisions. They weren't just adding like one or two new features onto a pre-existing cabinet or changing the skin of it. These were all brand new IPs, Final Fights, Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam. It was awesome. Dude, I remember driving around trying to locate specific cabinets at different Walmarts and stuff. And like, it was a bit of a hunt, but like, it was so much fun using like SKU lookups to see if your local Walmart had any of these in stock because they were selling like crazy. This was, you know, uncharted territory. And one of the reasons why Arcade1Up was so prominently, you know, featured and prominently talked about in, you know, YouTube spheres and on video game websites and stuff like that was really, in my opinion, for two specific reasons. You had this individual named John D, and John D was kind of the head of getting all of these licenses. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Arcade1Up enthusiasts and like diehards and stuff. If I say anything wrong, you know, leave it in the comments section. But John D was essentially in charge of getting all of these brands. That's how you ended up with stuff like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, Final Fight, like all these classic franchises that when you went into an arcade, that's what you were looking for. Those were the heavy hitters. That's why you went to the arcade. You could even go to like a fast food joint, at least in Connecticut at the time when I was a little kid, and play like a Mortal Kombat machine or an NBA Jam machine. Like, that's how popular these things were. And of course, you had the fact that this was a brand new market space. Nobody had entered this market space before. There wasn't any real sort of competition. And I feel like those two aspects, along with the community aspect, because I think that's what really took Arcade1Up to the next level. Some of my most viewed videos on this channel are reviews of Arcade1Up machines. But of course, the community aspect, you know, it's definitely been dwindling recently. You used to be able to talk to people like John D. You used to be able to talk to employees of Arcade1Up. They used to be in Facebook groups and commenting on videos and doing live streams. But then there was a change. John D left the company, was fired from the company. I really don't know the semantics of it. All I know is that John D is no longer with the company. And ever since John D left a couple of years ago, look at what happened with the company as a whole from licensing its stuff. When was the last time they got like a brand new license that was really exciting? Really, the last license I remember them getting was the Fast and the Furious thing. Now, I'm not sure if that was a John D product, but I do know that the Fast and the Furious Arcade1Up cabinet was not arcade perfect. It was some weird blend of two different Fast and Furious arcade games put onto one machine. And it was just like, well, doesn't this kind of go against like the principles of this company? It's supposed to be an arcade at home. Of course, Arcade1Up also ventured into other business ventures with stuff like the Infinity Board. You want to play some board games on a screen? I mean, you could do that with the Infinity Board. You want to play a casino-cade? Act like you're at a casino, but you're not gonna make any money. Like, I guess for like maybe elderly people, it was a good idea. But then they got a new figurehead in the company, an individual by the name of Cyrus. Now, I'm not here to dog on people. I'm not here to you know, talk shit about the dude or anything like that. But from everything I've seen from this individual, as far as the few interviews that they've done, their social media presence, they have a big social media presence on TikTok now, which is the most bizarre thing because the average user base of TikTok is definitely on the younger side, who doesn't care about nostalgic arcade games. But everything I've seen from this individual at best feels very disingenuous. It feels very fake. It feels very forced. And I'm not even sure that this individual fully understands what made Arcade1Up so special in the first place, and why people gravitated towards this, and why they at one point were a very successful company. You know, getting something like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, that's a huge get. And I do want to clarify that in previous videos talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation, I kind of downplayed it because I said, oh, well, it's not really that big of a deal because Arcade1Up had it. But I was corrected. Arcade1Up is actually considered a toy company, not a video game company. So it is separate licenses. So this actually was a bigger deal than I led on to be. I'm, of course, someone who will admit when they are wrong about something. And this was a situation I was wrong with. So I say all of that to get to the main point, because I feel like you do have to give a lot of context to this. You do have to give a lot of the sort of stuff that happened behind the scenes, the rise and fall, the lack of new IPs and stuff like that that we're getting from Arcade1Up to kind of get us to this point today. Because this year, it doesn't seem like you're getting anything new. Like, there's an Atari 50th machine, but I'm pretty sure that that's already been done or something like that. Like the same games, it's just been reskinned. But taking a look over at the Arcade1Up website, like, you can kind of see what we're doing here as far as what is happening in the future of this company. We're talking about Golden Tee, that's been around for a very long time. NBA Jam, been around for a very long time. You could partner with TaskRabbit and have someone come assemble your Arcade1Up. Bro, let me put it back on me just for a second. I am a man who could not figure out Labo. I couldn't figure it out. I will admit that 100%. Couldn't figure it out. I'm a man who could not build these bookshelves that you see. I actually hired someone off of TaskRabbit to come build these bookshelves. Even I can build an Arcade1Up. And I'm a moron, but I could build an Arcade1Up. So, like, is that really something that you want to promote? But this is it right here. Look at the coming soon section. We have an NBA Jam cabinet and a Marvel 97 because they reskinned one of the X-Men cabinets to now be the X-Men 97 skin, even though it has nothing to do with that, as like a cheap cash grab, because that's what this company has become, a cheap cash grab. You saw it with the stuff like the rising prices. And yes, they added in new features, online play, leaderboards, light up marquees, stools, like all these sorts of things to jack up the price that most people, I feel like, aren't huge fans of. Maybe if it's a fighting game, like, sure, but I never cared about any of that stuff. I played NBA Jam online a little bit, you know, but for the most part, it's more so about like the arcade experience. But this cabinet right here, this is the end. This is coming out in August. This is their newest cabinet. And you look at this sumbitch and you're like, why does this look so weird? Oh, it's a 2-player cabinet, like the countercades that they have and they've been making. But when you look at the design, it's like, what is this? What's going on here? No Arcade1Up, you know, video game cabinets have something like this. But then you look around here You look around. See, look. Flat bottoms, flat bottoms, flat bottoms. X-Men 97. But then you look at the Casino-cade, and you see that same line. They literally have repackaged a Casino-cade, changed it, attached the countercade to it, and said, here you go. This is what you guys want. $500. I paid less than that for my original NBA Jam 4-player. I believe I paid $400, you know, just a few years ago. And I get it. Inflation, COVID, all that sort of stuff, whatever the case may be. But here's a subpar version that looks really weird that has this footboard here because it's something that it wasn't going to be. And I'm going to wrap this video up by saying I met a few home arcade people at the Too Many Games Expo this past weekend, and I talked with them. I'm familiar with both of them. I've seen their channels and their content and stuff like that. But one of those individuals told me that Arcade1Up has a very hefty payment that they need to make in just a few months, and that they don't have the money to make that payment. They don't. There's no money. The well has been tapped. And it seems like that is going to be the official closure of Arcade1Up. So when you kind of think about it, the reskinned Casino-cade, something that they already have that probably sold like dog water, sitting around, you know, the manufacturing warehouse. Okay, well, redo it as an NBA Jam cabinet. The X-Men 97 cabinet, something that you already have, just putting a new skin on it. It kind of starts to make sense. Why you see all these revisions, why you see all these new skins, why you see all this stuff. But why did it happen? I think you can only reach so many people with something like this, with nostalgia. And if you're not creating new or having new IPs come out, if you're not having new games and new licenses and new fresh sort of concepts, you're just rehashing the same thing over and over and over and over again. This is what you get when you make a big change with your company in terms of a corporate area, with things like heads of divisions and stuff like that. And you bring in someone who I'm sure is, you know, a decent business person, but just to me doesn't feel like they represent an arcade community, doesn't feel like they are honest, doesn't feel like they are genuine. And when the company goes from talking to the community to ignoring the community, you end up with this. They're dead. I've honestly given up all hope that they will ever, you know, return to any sort of prominence, that will see new IPs. And I wouldn't be shocked if by the end of the year they do declare bankruptcy. Like, I just feel like, you know, you've seen it with other home arcade companies, the iArcade. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. And when you hit massive highs and you hit that level of success, once you start to go on that downslope and you're not able to replicate it anymore, and you're having to do things like cash grabs and you've abandoned the audience, I mean, there's only one thing that's really going to happen. Anyways, guys, I've talked about this for too long, but I don't know. I had a lot to say about it because I genuinely used to be ecstatic for this company. Turtles, like some of these are my favorite things. I haven't bought anything since the Simpsons cabinet. And if you watch my Simpsons cabinet review, like, I wasn't happy with it. Like, it was fine, but it was overpriced. There was things that didn't work right out of the box. You had to download Simpsons Bowling because they just rushed it out the door. So just kind of years of half-assness has brought us to this point. Let me know in the comments section down below. First off, let me know in the comments section down below if I said anything incorrect, because I'm sure the Arcade1Up community and the home arcade community will see and share this video. I don't claim to be an expert. This is just my opinion on things. Outsider looking in. And let me know your thoughts on Arcade1Up. Could they revive this company? Could they bring it back? Or is the writing on the wall and, you know, it's over? Let me know. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.